Afternoon, guys. Have a few interesting project saws to show people. Ones which have arrived and just not done anything with them at all, in fact. And this saw came in part exchange just a little while ago and she's in terrible condition. She is a Komatsu Zenoah. So all I really know about these, and it goes back to my modelling days as well, is that they used to make fabulous two-stroke model airplane engines, little petrol two-stroke engines, the little Zenoahs, and so I'm pretty sure Japanese, and so this one is a 560 AVS, and she's in terrible condition. She came in really cheap against another saw, and I said I take it just purely because she has a couple of things going for her. So if I put that down, spectacular compression. So, on a par with a couple of my other 61s. So I presume she's around the 50cc mark. I had a brief Google. I couldn't find any documentation per se for this, but apparently they get really, really good reviews in Australia, which I guess is no surprise really, looking at the location geographically of Japan. You'd probably find that these would be much more predominantly sold around that half of the world. And so great compression, has a excellent looking chain, and starts and runs. That's the good parts. The bad parts. So let's go through them, which I've just seen, and she's literally just been hung like this, and I meant to advertise her after she'd come in, but she has, okay, so a little bolt has gone through for the throttle lock. It works, but obviously that's not the real item. The chain brake handle is really terribly repaired. Has two little brass type looking metal strips, and although the chain brake is working, that's a terrible repair. The side cover is only plastic, but looks like it's had some type of repair on it. And the worst problem is when I put some oil in it, he did say it leaks oil, and it really does. The minute you put oil in, oil just floods out, and I've only just checked it, and there's actually, just behind the chain guide plate, there's a hole, maybe, what is that hole? Maybe a centimetre wide and 5mm, so 10mm by 5mm, actually into the oil tank. And so, yeah, there you go. So she's got crankcase damage, and very good exhaust. Petrol tank all looks good, and felling spikes present, tiny bit loose. Both chain guide plates appear to be present, or are present, and I mean, they get great reviews, and they have an adjustable chain oiler on top, not too dissimilar to the location you would find on some of the Echo saws from Japan. Apparently real screamers when they can cut and perform. So obviously no oil feed, runs really smoothly. I'm pretty sure it's a 325 pitch chain, and I think there's a spare chain in terrible condition as well. Let me show you how she runs. Kill switch. ferocious engine and fantastic compression. Fantastic. But has a hole in the oil tank, and actually, pick the camera up. Let me take off the cover, and then hopefully suitable for one of you guys out there, and maybe it'll be a great source of spare parts. Obviously the fueling side is good, the ignition side is obviously perfect and running really well, and maybe one of the metal repair products, if that hole could be, I don't see why it couldn't be repaired, but if that hole could be patched, and then you'd have yourself a super cheap, very powerful AVS 560. Let me take this out, see if we can catch on camera just the challenges for this saw. A little air filter shroud or plastic cover. I don't know if there's supposed to be any additional things in there, or whether or not it just filters through those little grids there. Okay, the air filter cover at the back looks in good condition, and the top cover, tiny scorch mark for the exhaust, but again pretty good. And so rear handle all good, apart from this little makeshift bolt throttle lock. And if I rotate the saw around, there's this scarring on this side cover, which is an interesting, if that's a plastic weld, it's very interesting repair. Little serial number badge, G560AVS. Guide plates look good, and I don't know if that's visible, but just under there, in there, there's a hole. When I take off the oil cap, I can see light. So there's a hole in the oil tank just here. And then through the front of the engine, there's the exhaust in good condition. Felling spike present. I haven't measured the guide bar. It looks like it's, I think something like a 14-inch chain is in. This chain is in excellent condition. The other chain looks terrible, but I can see a little flecks of oil as well on top of the chain, so perhaps there's some residue coming out of the oil feed, but the oil tank has a hole in it. And round to the pull start housing, it's composite and looks unbroken, AV mounted, funny spurious, looks like a coarse threaded wood screw in here, and all the way around. So, oh, and handle. This terrible chain brake handle repair. But I would think, as it's quite a clean break across, that could be nicely mended. In fact, with a couple of properly placed metal straps, you could probably, unless you had a replacement handle. So this might just be a great source of spare parts for somebody, or maybe a super cheap saw to just get back up and running once a few of these, they're not insignificant problems. You couldn't say that. Not for a second, you couldn't say that. So I'll leave the covers off and just show her starting very quickly then, again. So she seems to start really well. Right guys, I should grab a tape measure very quickly. Just so people know, it's nice to know. Okay, so it's a 12-inch bar, nominal 12-inch. All right, guys, thanks for watching. Hopefully that girl has some. Oh, should say, pillar caps are present. Petrol cap looks good. Oil cap, although it can be undone, it's missing. Part of the lugs are broken off on top. Still can be undone pretty straightforwardly. Okay. Guys, thanks for watching, and more videos to follow. Bye for now.